muttering before we synced up to record. Because I just ran a razor over my face, and it fucking stings. The problem,
the panicked dry raise where you're like, it's just annoying me. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that.
I did slather some stuff on, but because my skin has always been soft, and then do HRT and what have you, skin gets even softer. It is amazing. Like, I am what Dove would have you believe its soap feels like. I feel like that. Let me tell you, right? Softest eyelids in the game. They're just a very good touch. I'm one of those types of wrinkly eyelids, though. It's like having 2 bits of foreskin over your eyes, which I only say because I love saying that. It's a powerful, it's a country strong image, is that. God, though, like, my whole face region is on fire now. Like, I don't even need to do the thing Macaulay Culkin did where you put the splush on it. Like, I will shave and then just immediately slap my face and go, ah! Mostly because I just slapped my face. Oh, God, it stings.
It's
really bad.
That's why I don't, proper shave anymore, because I can get away with it, and I just don't like I haven't used a proper razor on my face in years. I just use a beard trimmer to take all the stuff off my neck and
I don't envy you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, I do envy you, rather. Yeah. I couldn't do that even beforehand. Even before it was a presentation thing. I hate the feel of it. Didn't help that I always looked like I should be on a register if it grew out too much. It really was. It was like Bluto by way of a sex offender. Not that he isn't, let's face it.
Right.
It's about time someone said that, by the way. It's about time someone called out Bluto.
Has society been letting Bluto get off too easy?
You get these people who, just because of their position, just because he owns about 5,000 businesses, depending on what the plot of that cartoon needs, just because he's clearly a lucrative businessman, we let him get away with all sorts. Primarily kidnapping one woman. on that subject, right? It's about fucking time someone called out Bowser, right? Just because he's a member of the aristocracy. Just because he's part of the landed turtlery, we let him get away with all sorts of things, primarily kidnapping one woman.
Steph, are you suggesting that just because Bowser, King Koopa, is the ruler of a nation, he shouldn't be able to just go and kidnap the ruler of a rival nation and do so with impunity?
Bowser, he lives around lava, right? That's the sort of thing where if you couldn't sweat, that's gotta be hard.
Yeah, it's actually amazing that he can come up with schemes, because as a reptile, he should be asleep 24/7 near all of that hot climate. I suspect Mario doesn't abide by natural law as we understand it. And honestly, it's about time someone called out Shigeru Miyamoto for that, for the terrible research behind the Super Mario series. Mushrooms can't talk. No one's fucking told him.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've had some mushrooms sometimes, and then they've spoken to me afterwards.
Oh, well, I mean, they've made other things talk, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta tell Comrade a thing that brings me great joy this week, that I've told you about, Steph, already, but it brings me great joy. Did you know that Steph shares a birthday with every thoroughbred horse in the Northern Hemisphere?
Really?
Right?
Yes! It's called All Horse Birthday!
Yeah, my birthday was recently, January the 1st.
Indeed.
And Laura messaged me, first of all, to tell me you can get a custom virtual pet where you can make it anything you want. So I will be able to live my dream of having a Jonathan Holmes Tamagotchi.
That was my assumption as to where you would go with it. I need to send you the link still to it, but yeah, that is a genuine thing that could be made.
Money well spent.
You're right.
But yeah. Apparently, I share a birthday with every thoroughbred horse.
Yeah, in order to make it easier to organize horse birthdays and not have to work out like specific like dates for organizing horses, every horse officially has the same birthday. It's just January 1st. That's the day that's the horse birthday.
And as someone who is well bred herself, I think it's very fitting, which is also something I say when I'm being well bred. That was quick. That was lightning quick. That was on the fly. I had that joke and then fired it off instantaneously.
It just brings me joy that you share a birthday with every horse.
I'm the horsewoman. God of horses. They should... I wonder if they'll recognise me as their ruler. I am up north. There's a lot of farms. People still ride horses in the road. I'm going to see if I've got some sort of psychic link with them. I'm assuming I do.
Now that you know this fact, I do expect you to acknowledge the fact you're sharing your birthday with the horses. If you ever see a horse on your birthday, you're going to be like, happy birthday?
I will have to, absolutely.
Right. The only fair thing.
Got to wish a horse happy birthday on January the 1st. Unless it isn't a pedigree one. Unless it's not a thoroughbred. If it's one of those dirty pauper horses.
If you find out it's been imported from the southern hemisphere as well, you can tell it to fuck off. It's only northern hemisphere thoroughbreds.
Northern hemisphere only. I'm not a horse racist. I do want to make that clear before I get called out. Because that would be embarrassing after finally taking Pluto and Bowser to task. I'm not a horse racist. It's just if you're a Southern Hemisphere horse, I don't want to know ya.
Oh, I did just look it up. There is a second horse birthday. There is the Southern Hemisphere has its own horse birthday. For anyone listening, if your birthday is August 1st, you share a birthday with all of the Southern Hemisphere horses.
So there's a rival horse god out there who I must kill Horselander style. Okay, it's on. This does presuppose that no one else has birthdays on January and August the 1st.
No, it's just you and one other person.
Like, I know I share a birthday with Rowan Atkinson of Mr. Bean and Blackadder fame.
I feel like you now are just you're gonna have to do away with everyone else who shares your birthday so you can have an unrivaled claim to the horses.
Oh, that's perfect. That's an entire film franchise, which worked out very well for Highlander.
Did it?
No.
I mean,
not at all.
The TV series was a bit of a success, I think, but...
I never actually watched that one.
It's all right.
I don't even know if I watched Highlander 3. I remember as a child watching Highlander 2, and the only thing I remember was... I think he looked a bit like Meatloaf, but he was some real wackadoodle comic book character, immortal, taking over a train or something as, like, the starter villain of the film. That's all I remember. I've been meaning to rewatch it because that guy seemed awesome.
The second one is a mess. Like, I mean, it didn't make sense to do a sequel in the first place. Then there was a bunch of studio interference. And, so they had to, like... re-release the director's cut on video, home video when it finally released, and so it had to be cut yet again, and it like reinserting a bunch of stuff that was removed, and none of it makes sense. There's not one version of that film that's coherent. It's terrible.
Wow.
And I like the first one. Like, my first memory of moving to New York City was riding the train from the airport into Queens and going past the Silver Cup Studios sign where the last fight happens, in the film. And it was really, really cool. Like, Highlander's a big part of my life, but
I like the first Highlander as well. It's got a really great premise, and it's got Clancy Brown, and we all know Clancy Brown is the best.
He's so good.
And I've pointed it out in other works before, but what amazes me about Highlander is, for the first half of the film, Clancy Brown is this stoic, kind of quiet, intimidating warrior. And then, seemingly for no reason, he's Freddy fucking Krueger.
It's the 80s, baby!
Half. Better to burn up than fade away! Like, the original Kurgan wouldn't do that. And it's just this complete character switch. It's incredible.
See, but that's the thing. It's like everybody wants to, like think of the Kurgan as the bad guy. But the Kurgan is actually doing his best to remain relevant with the culture, to understand what's happening. I bet he'd be down with women's rights, And I wouldn't say the same for Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod.
Well, you make a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that the Kurgan was a fan of Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're right, actually. He did get with the times. He's all punked up and everything.
Yep.
Which is a great concept, like, in general, just this idea of having this sort of warrior from back then and how he adapts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one for, just because there's been too many of these fucking prequels and fucking films about villain origins and that, I would watch one about the Kurgan adapting over time.
Oh, yeah.
I would find that very interesting. You hit upon, I remember I said it on an old, like, Podtoid or something. I talked about this. And you suggested it was the last guy he beheaded and sucked up. He was like, that last guy must have done a number on him. And I love that as a concept as well. Like, you get affected somewhat by the last person you beheaded.
Mm-hmm.
Highlander, good film.
Good film.
Good film. You don't want to think too much.
No.
You just want a good, engrossing 80s action film. Highlander's got you covered.
Well, you know what else we've got covered?
What's that?
Video games.
That is so
It's
true.
Podquisition. We're here for them,
true.
probably.
New year, same old guff. It is time for Podquisition. Hello.
Who's played some of them this week?
I've played 2.
I played 3, maybe?
I think I've got 2 I can talk about. 2.5.
Yeah, do you want to start us off, Steph? What have you been playing?
So I'm still on my Kirby kick. I played a lot of Kirby Air Riders over the holidays, in between playing a lot of Fortnite with Fee's eldest, just as a thing, like, when he comes over, we get a few runs in. We don't, for a kid and someone who's completely out of touch, we don't do too bad. We win duos at a decent rate.
I've played some Fortnite with him and done pretty alright in duos. We do alright.
So there was some of that. I played a little bit of Smash Bros, which I think was part of playing so much Air Riders, because obviously Sakurai worked on that. And I found out that Marks, or remembered that Marks was a boss in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and wanted to fight Marks, the Kirby villain, which was cool. So I got a couple other Kirby games. For my birthday, I played Kirby's Epic Yarn, which I can't remember if I mentioned that on a previous Podquisition.
You said it was coming.
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for it. What a good game. What a great game. I smile while playing it. Like, I just have a big dopey grin on my face, because it's just such a lovely game. It inspired me to work on a new video. I will be working on a new video about how Kirby uses easy gameplay, and how I think they really do a lot with that, and how Laboratory and everything have turned easy gameplay into its own art form, where Epic Yarn was criticised at the time, not by me. I loved it. It got a lot of stick for being quote-unquote too easy. And I think the response to Epic Yarn exposes the really limited idea of what difficulty means to people who play games. Easy does not mean you die a lot. You can't die in Kirby's Epic Yarn. You can't die. You can get through every single level. If you want to find every single item and get gold for collecting and keeping the beads that you lose when you get hit, that's where it comes in. Any child can play many Kirby games. It's often seen as like a beginner video game series. But between post-game content, which I'm not even going to include in my argument because I don't need to, but post-game content for Kirby, you can find some of the hardest fucking gameplay challenges if you want to.
Absolutely. And that goes all the way back to, like, the very, very beginning of Kirby. Kirby's adventure on the NES had that same guiding philosophy of, we're going to make a game that is accessible for absolutely anybody to play, that is not going to frustrate even the most basic player, but is still going to provide interesting challenges for those who want to seek them. And that's been maintained the whole time. So What's the problem?
I mean, Sakurai gave Kirby the ability to float because he thought it would feel unfair to a player to die to a pitfall. It's like being accessible is hardwired into that series, but the challenge is there, and it's artistically woven in. It's not just really hard boss rush mode or really hard version of game. I've restarted more levels in Kirby's Epic Yarn than I ever have in possibly any other game, because I earned those beads and I want to buy more furniture for Kirby's flat, which I love that it's called a flat and not an apartment. The absolutely meaningless flat where you just like one of those peel and place sticker books where you can make your own scenes, like a kid's book. But, you know, I earned those beads, they're mine. I want the gold medal because Kirby goes, Bye-oh! And I want to spend it on meaningless shit. I don't feel right if I don't get a gold on that game. But it's entirely self-imposed because I could blitz through if I wanted to. That is something that was tragically lost on so many critics of this and the other games. They're not too easy. They are artistically easy, and I'm a big fan of it. And Kirby's Epic Yarn, one of the easiest levels in that game. It's this music-based stage where you're bouncing on drums and running along keyboards, and it's making little musical notes fly out of them with beads attached to collect. It is one of the easiest levels in any game I've ever played. It is certainly so far. I've not finished the game, but it is the easiest level I've played in that game so far. It is one of the best platforming levels ever. I realise I've used a lot of bests and absolutes in this topic.
You've been superlative.
I've been superlative, as I want to do, but I genuinely mean that. I won't say it's the best, but I had such a wide smile playing that game, that level in particular. It is not challenging. It is piss easy. Doesn't fucking matter. It's a joy. The music is delightful. The gameplay, the platforming, yeah, really straightforward, really simple. But the little touches, the little things of I bounce on some cymbals and they spring me up, or use the little swingy thing where you like wrap some yarn around a button and swing left and right. Those are attached to the middle of harps, so as you swing left and right, it plucks all the strings. That level is packed with so much cute shit, and that's what makes it work. Not that there's a risk of dying. That is such a... And we see this in, you know, the Get Good discussion and the Dark Souls discussion, where I think people boil those games down to such simplistic, rudimentary ideas, and so much gets lost. And Kirby's Epic Yarn, it's full of ideas. It is so inventive. The amount of things that Kirby can turn into, like all the different transformations. The fact that almost every single level has its own little gimmick. Some of it subtle, some of it not so much. The yarn-based stuff, the whole crafted look, was already really cool and inventive, and they used that to great effect with puzzles and things, like going underneath the cloth backdrop to weave in and out of things. Really clever. It is an incredibly clever game, and it's a shame that whenever it comes up, I see people, you know, just bring up how easy it is. Like, that is... You have missed the point. Absolutely missed the point. If you think it's too easy because I can't die. What a limited way to view a game. So I played that over my birthday day. Then the next day, a present I got for myself arrived, along with these really cute Kirby ornaments that are just fucking gorgeous. But I'm trying to get all the DS games at the moment. The 3DS games. I played Triple Deluxe and talked about that a while back. Kirby Mass Attack came through. That game is something else. That's the one where Kirby is split into 10 small Kirbys, and you guide them around. And they jump on things to pummel them, and their little arms go, and it's really cute. But then you can't help but think of like horrible nature documentaries where ants are tearing a bigger insect apart. Just It's not how I'd want to go. Tiny Kirby's swarming over me.
It's the problem that happens when you think about Pikmin too closely and you go, oh, this is actually quite horrifying.
Yes, exactly. You know, being a DS game, it's very touchscreen reliant. Had some accessibility issues because of that, and it does run up with some issues, like when you're tapping the screen to guide the Kirby's, being a small screen, the Kirby's keep stopping and starting because they run too close to the edge of the screen and you got to constantly tap. It has some control issues, but it's still really fun. As I've been talking about this on Blue Sky, I've had more than one person suggest there's never been a bad Kirby game. You can get me, humdrum ones that aren't as regarded. But a lot of people say it like it's just common knowledge. And if I think, even including spin-offs, I can't think of one that's been, like, capital B bad.
I struggle to think of a Kirby game I didn't at least have some mindless enjoyment with.
Yeah.
At the very least, the cuteness was enough for me to go, yeah, I had an alright time.
Isn't there a golf one on the N64 or...
the Super Nintendo, I think.
Nintendo.
Kirby's Dreamland?
Dream Course.
Dream Course.
Dream Course, yeah.
That might be the most underwhelming, but that doesn't make it bad.
Hey, if I do good at golf in that game, Kirby does the little dance with the music, and that instantly makes it better than any other golf game.
Yeah, I played 2.5 seconds of Kirby's Dream Course recently, because it's on the Switch Online. It's not for me. But, the presentation of it and everything, yeah, it's a cut above bad, for sure. But yeah, Mass Attack is a fun game. And what really helps it is it's got great sub-games. Like, most Kirby games have a plethora of sub-games, extra challenges, things like boss rushes and all of this, and little silly mini-games. It's one of the things I love about the series. It's always got something more for you. Mass Attack has great ones. Its whack-a-mole thing it's such an obvious thing to do with a DS, but it's great. It's a great little whack-a-mole. There's an overhead shoot-'em-up where you use the stylus to drag Kirby around and you collect more Kirbys to make a big long line of Kirbys. That's really fun. And as someone who desperately wishes for another Kirby's Pinball Land, it's got the closest thing to a sequel as a sub-game in Mass Attack. Brawl Ball or Ball Brawl, I think it's called, something like that. It's just pinball. It's a pinball table, a simple one, but fun, and 4 boss fights that you can open up: Wispy Woods and Low 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 and La La La, and the big metal yellow scorpion that was only in one game, and I've not gotten to the 4th one yet. But I've been just as glued to that, possibly more so than the actual game, because I love Kirby's Pinball Land, and I'm just so impressed with the mini games in this one. They're so well thought out and so well made. And it just speaks to sort of, I think, one of the reasons why Kirby hasn't had a bad game, or at least many people say that, is they're made with so much love. They are made with so much care. It's clear that anyone who, is in charge of a Kirby game is doing it because they fucking love Kirby, and it's so hard not to. Yeah. So, it's been a lot of Kirby. There's been other ones as well, but I'll leave it at those two because those are the main ones. Great stuff. I've been having a great time.
Oh, I'm glad to hear you've been having a good time with video games.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing some video games. I've not been playing a huge amount. I spent most of my time off over the last few weeks playing board games with people. I went and saw some friends and did a lot of big campaign board game playing. But I played a couple of video games. The first two I want to talk about are both completely opposite ends of the sex video game spectrum.
Okay.
There is completely sex content for the purpose of sex content, and there is kind of interesting high art sex game. And I don't know which of the two to start with this week.
Let's do the former.
Okay,
let's work our way up to high art.
Okay, let's go lowbrow. A listener of Podquisition sent me a game on Steam for the festive period. The video game is called Spunkstock Music Festival.
Excellent. I love that Woodstock is already an innuendo. Like, you could go with woodcock, or just emphasize the word wood, but no, they went Spunkstock.
Now, the first sign this was going to be a good video game is when I redeemed it on Steam. I noticed like a little red exclamation mark on the settings thing in Steam, and I was like, what does that denote?
It means you can hide the fact that you're playing it from other people?
No. Better than that, it's automatically set to private.
Yep.
It's by default set to, like, we're gonna, just for you, we're gonna hide that you're playing this. You can let people know if you want.
You can opt into telling people you're playing this, but we're not gonna expose you.
Yeah, right. So it is a music rhythm game with some genuinely kind of interesting music rhythm ideas, but the premise is Spunkstock, the music festival.
I can't get enough of the name.
This takes place in a world where, like, women control the music industry and there are no opportunities for men in the music industry anymore, because, like, only women get to be successful musicians. And you want to work your way, as a man, you want to work your way backstage to, like, maybe get your shot at getting to perform some music at Spunkstock. Like, you're in a world where men have been denied the right to play music, and your only way to be able to play some music on the stage of Spunkstock is to fuck your way through all of the female artists in the backstage area and get them to, like, let you further backstage so you can eventually play some music on stage.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's how that would happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut in with another game I've been playing, but I'm playing this game called Spunkstock at the moment. I have just put it on my Steam Deck.
Right? So, here's the thing. The game is real simple. You click on a woman, have a very basic dialogue tree to convince her to have some sex, and then you do a music rhythm game. And on the surface, it's really basic one-button music rhythm gameplay. I will say, I didn't know what to make of it when I opened the settings menu, and there is a setting that does not explain what it does, called Endurance Womb State.
Endurance Womb State? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah, that's either always, or first time. And I've set it to first time. I don't know what it does if I always have an Endurance Womb State.
Deary me.
The thing that makes this kind of interesting is when you get to your music rhythm level with its kind of basic music and your one-button gameplay, depending on the difficulty of the girl involved, you have to pick a number of modifiers that will change the way that scoring and gameplay work. And you make, like, you're probably going to make 2 or 3 of these choices before starting the music rhythm game. And you kind of have control over what modifiers are going to impact your note track. So it might be things like, a regular but not perfect hit scores you fewer points than it usually would, but a perfect scores you more. So if you're confident in getting perfects, you can do that. There, maybe one of your options is like a tempo modifier, so it increases the rate of the track, but you will also get more points per successful hit. It might change the note track entirely, so a percentage of notes will become doubled notes, and you won't just have, like, the one consistent rhythm. You're gonna have to do some, like, half notes in between. And all of these are modifiers that you pick at the start of the round before knowing what the track's gonna be. So you have to sort of gamble on how well do I think I'm gonna do and what modifiers will work with my confidence in my gameplay ability. And then you do a very basic music rhythm game while you fuck a woman, and then you click whether to come or not at the end, and you continue. It's fucking stupid, but I've been having fun with this really not that impressive game.
I am, you know what? I could do with some fucking stupid, and some stupid fucking. So...
Right, if you're in the mood for, like, the kind of music rhythm game where, like, I, as someone with no sense of rhythm, was getting, like, 100% on the first few levels. Like, it's not a challenging music rhythm, but I think because you're meant to only be, well, it's a one-handed gameplay for a reason, you know. I don't think it's there to be challenging. It's there to give you a rhythm by which to have your other hand free too.
It's got really nice art as well.
Yeah.
Right, genuinely, the artwork's really nice.
If I do want to like have a cheeky one over some drawn porn, it's the kind of art style I'd go for.
And you know what? I think they know their audience very well, because here's maybe the most telling thing. You finish the level, and you have the button that is like, you're gonna go jizz on them or whatever. You can press that button multiple times. It's not a one-time button. So if you're not quite done, you can just press but just do the animation where I come on them just a couple more times.
Well, that's considerate.
So that's Spunkstock.
Spunkstock.
Yeah.
What a stupid name.
That sure was a festive gift I received, and I to my credit, I did check it out.
Bless.
What about you, Conrad? What have you been playing?
I also got a festive gift from that listener, and I will talk about that game next week, because I do want to talk about it, but I played it and then largely forgot everything about it.
Not done anything to it yet.
Yeah. So I will bring that up next week. But over the break, I did play a couple of things. Blueprints. I dedicated a lot of time to Blueprints over the break, and I did reach the 46th room. I've seen the credits on it, and that game is just incredible. Like, the density of its puzzles. Every corner you turn, there is one there, whether you know it or not. It can be a bit frustrating sometimes to discover a place where you need to use a piece of equipment that you have had many times before and thought maybe you were done with. And then, oh no, here's another place you're going to need to use it. Now I have to wait for the conditions to come around again to exploit that. But I really like the way the game administers permanent benefits over time. Some of them are tremendously useful, and none of them feel necessary except for one. One of them feels really necessary, and the rest of them are just really helpful. But if you didn't come across them, they're probably not going to impede you too much either. That's cool. It's the writing's great. The only thing that bums me out about it is that a non-English reader would probably be unable to play it. And
this game has not been localized, and I understand the mammoth task localizing it would be.
I mean, it would. Yeah, it's not merely a matter of translation. You would have to redo a lot of these puzzles in their entirety.
Yes,
and
you can't one-to-one translate some of the wordplay that is integral to understanding some of the puzzles.
Yeah, but outside of that, that's like my biggest criticism. It's not even a criticism, because there's a reason the way to do it that I can think of that would be practical. Maybe there's a team of people in Eastern Europe who would like to take on this challenge to localize in some languages that they have access to, but to expect it, I think, would be unreasonable. But if you do read English, Jesus Christ, there are few games that I've played where I have had the compulsion to keep going in such a way. As I say, I've seen the credits, but I've got 3 of 8 of an item that is important to understanding the narrative, and so I'm just going to keep going until I get those other pieces of information.
Yes. Yeah. Gosh, the way that game unfolds its puzzles, where it's suddenly... The number of times playing it, I would walk through a room and suddenly have that moment of, oh, that's the answer to a puzzle, and I've been walking past it in every room I've been in without fail has had part of this puzzle that I'm stuck on, and I've just not even noticed it.
Yeah, and another thing I like is how many different opportunities the game will provide you to become conscious of certain puzzles.
Yeah.
Like the puzzle that you were just referencing there, I know exactly which one you're talking about. I can think of no fewer than 4 places in the estate that will give you the hint to start you on that puzzle.
And there's a whole bunch of things of that nature that it's like, oh, there's multiple ways I could come to the understanding of there is more to the space I'm moving through than I realized, and I've just not been aware of the things around me.
And I didn't know what I should be paying attention to necessarily.
Yeah.
And there's always these things that are little oddities. And in a game like this, you're always now forced to question, is that significant? You know, because once that starts happening a lot...
you can't track everything.
Right.
Because there's too much stuff and you don't know... Like, even if you notice a thing is relevant, what about the thing is relevant? What part of it should you be tracking?
Right. And, you know, keeping a journal absolutely helps, but only when you know that it's going to be significant and think to write it down. And sometimes, you know, and what, are you going to write everything? No. And even if you did, having the right perspective to understand the thing that you're looking at is everything. Amazing game. I really cannot recommend it highly enough to people. And it's, you know, one of those games that could never have been a Game of the Year contender in any real sense, even though it deserves it. So I would check it out. Yeah.
I was a little surprised it didn't get more nods at the Game Awards this year. But when it was pointed out to me that it is only available in English, and the Game Awards does get voted on by people from a lot of different countries, I was like, I do see what probably limited the people who were voting for this.
Well, and Post Games, it's Chris Plant's podcast, did an episode a few weeks back about the Game Awards and sort of explaining how all that, when Blueprints was mentioned in among that, and, you know, and this reason given, and I totally get it. Totally get it. Makes a lot of sense. Deeply upsetting that, you know, it can't get more attention on that basis. It's just the way that these things go.
Yeah.
But please, if this has been at all appealing, you owe it to yourself to check this game out. I have so many friends who have started playing it in recent weeks, and like, the conversations that we've had and just the joy of discovery and the joy of hearing other people discover it. It's amazing. Just amazing. Great game.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Steph? What else have you been playing?
So I've been playing the award-rejecting game Megabonk.
Mm.
And this was that one that we did mention a little while back.
Yeah.
For rejecting a game award because the dev was like, I'm not a new developer, so I shouldn't be in that category, which I thought was an integrity move that he didn't have to do. So I fired up the Steam Deck for the first time in a while and saw Megabonk listed on the
Is this your first time playing it?
It is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Somehow this one passed me by, and I try and make a point to check out Survivor-style games.
Well, Laura tried to get you to play it, but, you know.
I gave it my recommendation.
And I completely forgot. So I did see it, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to check that out. So I checked it out. Yeah, it is very Vampire Survivors, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely that. Very much like Vampire Hunters. It's take the Vampire Survivors model, change the perspective. So this is third person, but 3D maps and 3D models, which brings its own challenges, mostly running into enemies that you didn't see. There's a bit of a learning curve on that. You do sort of pick up a bit of a sixth sense for it after a while. Plus you got to deal with, there's a lot of raised levels, there's a lot of verticality, and enemies will just like tumble off the sides, like they're in World War Z, and it can sometimes just start raining monsters. It's good. It's done enough to keep me like playing a lot of it, like keep going back to it. So obviously it's doing something good enough to keep me in the loop. I do like the little extra touches it has. I like the idea of every map having these set interactables that will randomly appear, like the chests you can pay to open to get passive items, the shady dealers that will sell you a passive item, the fact there are magnet statues to bring all the XP to you. Lots of little touches like that. One thing I found interesting with it is it's also very memes. But I am now at that point in my life where I don't know if I'm rolling my eyes at some of the memes because it feels like, you know, a bit fellow kids, or if I am now the one too old and I don't get, and this game is actually being really relevant and I'm out of touch. And that's why the memes aren't doing it for me. I now no longer know. The only one I know is that 6-7 because these kids go absolutely wild when they see it. But aside from that, yeah, decent. I have some frustrations with it. It's one of them ones where every death feels particularly unsatisfying and often very sudden. Two things are really aggravating me more than anything else. The first is AoE attacks that explode and send you flying. Especially in a game filled with little posts that you've got to capture by staying in their radius. It's very easy for explodey things to send you really far out away from it, or just send you in directions you don't want to go. And that idea, the idea of like having control taken away from me, is packaged in with my other big frustration. The fact you can't pass through the enemy character model hitboxes. So when there are enough enemies, they can push you around. And you can't, as you can in many other survivor style games, you can't break through. You can't just be like, right, this is gonna hurt my health bar, but I'm gonna break through to get some space. You can't do that in this. If enough enemies crowd you, there have been times where like I've gone from full to zero because I just got too swamped and could not move. And that never feels good. It does not feel good to lose a round that way. However, as I say, it has kept me coming back. I like the weapons. I think the weapons can be very cool. There are some inventive ones there, as well as some, there are straightforward ones, a shotgun, a sword. But the banana boomerang is cute. I really like the poison flasks that you can throw. I really like some of the synergies, and I like that there are passive items that you can collect, and passive items that you can, like, pick for level ups that do the same thing. So you can be a bit tactical in, like, if you want your pickup radius improved, you don't have to equip and use a tome, they call them tomes here. You don't have to use a tome slot to get that. You can hope you find it in a chest, which is almost likely, and do it that way, or get pickup radiuses by activating those statues that let you, like, they offer you just straight stat upgrades. I like the microwaves, where you can clone one of your passives at the risk of a randomly selected passive going in the microwave with it and burning that. I really like that. There's a lot going on in the maps and in the level ups and sort of power acquisition systems that I like. So yeah, I have issues with it. I get annoyed with it a fair bit, but I like it. I can see it's a well thought out game. I can see why people really gravitated towards it. And I do like it. I am enjoying it more than I'm, swearing at it. So yeah, I do like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of other sex-related video games I've been playing this week, because apparently that's where I'm at, I spent maybe 20 minutes today playing through the new game by Robert Yang, who I've talked about his games before.
Love Robert Yang.
Is a person who, makes thoughtful and interesting games that on the surface seem a little silly, but are usually quite interesting looks at queer sex life. The new game is called Rainbows Are Carnivores. It is a fishing game, I think is the best way mechanically to put it. It is a fishing minigame where you are fishing up naked men. You're catching them on a fishing line, having a look at your naked man you fished out, seeing what level of attraction you have to that naked man you fished out, throwing them back, changing some variables, going fishing again. You can tweak things like the pH in the water, the amount of fish food you're throwing out, whatnot. It is mechanically a puzzle game about trying to find the perfect conditions to get the right catch. It is more philosophically a game about the disposable nature of online dating culture in queer communities, and the kind of throwaway nature with which queer communities sometimes use dating apps to be very surface level, and how quick can I churn through seeing people in a kind of dehumanizing way sometimes.
Not the way my mate uses it. I won't say his name, but rather than how can I use this to throw away as many people as possible, he uses it as how many people in the local area can I fuck as possible. He uses every part of the kill. Let me just say that. He opened up the app, because he was trying to convince me to get Grindr, right? Which worked for me, not in terms of sex. I got a really good work colleague out of it.
Yeah.
For other projects, it wasn't Zilla. But yeah, to convince me, he opened it up and he pointed at every single picture on the app. Just, I fucked him, I fucked him, I fucked him, I fucked him. He bummed me dead hard. But yes, to the broader point, that is a very good point to make.
It's very much a narrative about, hey, you might, maybe you're banging these people as you go through, but it's very much how many people can you get through as quickly as possible going, yeah, that's not quite the perfect one I'm looking for. I won't say what conclusions it draws from that, but mechanically it does some very interesting things with gameplay pacing, and with the conclusions it draws. It is basically a one-button game. It's mouse and left click, and that's basically all you need. It's maybe 15 to 20 minutes long, and once again, I think Robert Yang has done a great job of taking something that on the surface looks a little silly and objectifying, and has done something like narratively quite poignant with. So yeah, it's called Rainbows Are Carnivores, and I do think it's really worth checking out.
Nice. Really good name as well. For different reasons than the other one.
Yeah.
I'm a bugger for a well-named game, and that's a really evocative one. I like that.
Yeah. It's a name that, like, it doesn't feel fitting when you start playing, but by the end you can very much feel what it's doing. What about you, Conrad? You played anything else this week?
Yeah, I started playing a top-down, like Zelda-esque exploration action game called Pippistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. It's interesting how I came across this. I was on Blue Sky and someone was posting their concerns about how Yacht Club games might fare when they finally release Mina the Hollower, which was supposed to come out around Halloween, I think. It had a Halloween release date and got delayed and currently has no release date. And they were reflecting on how, it's been 10 years since Yacht Club put out a game that they self-developed. Shovel Knight's been a very successful license and so forth, but they're entering into a market that is very, very different from when Shovel Knight came out. And for comparison, they pointed to Pippistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, which is a very similar style of game. It is emulating visually the Game Boy Advance. And it's kind of chunky pixels and really like vibrant art. It's a cute looking game.
That's a good art style to emulate. I love a good GBA game.
Yeah. And it really does a great job of sort of adhering to that. And they're very upfront about that's the goal. The load screen at the start is a rotating Game Boy Advance-like handheld, but with 4 buttons.
Lovely.
And, the cartridge of Pippistrello going into it once it's loaded. Like, they are not kidding. Even if you leave it idle on the title screen, it'll pull back and show you the handheld again. Like, they really liked their little 3D rendered handheld that they made. It's cute. But the thing that this person on Blue Sky was pointing out is that this game had less than 1,000 reviews on Steam, which that's rough. And this is a well-crafted little game. You are a bat that is part of the Pippistrello family, which is this they own the energy company. And I have real, like, complicated feelings about this, because the game is very, very conscious about, like, your character's family being not great for the world. Like, they are jacking up energy prices because they have a monopoly. And the bad guys that they come to steal basically the soul of your aunt who owns the company so that they can use it to power other things. And they all seem to suck too, so okay. Like, they all seem to be awful capitalists. But I feel weird trying to save my aunt who is clearly a monster. And I have been benefiting from this largesse my entire life. But the character that you play is a child, a bat, who wants to be a yo-yo champion. And your primary weapon is a yo-yo. And over time, you learn yo-yo tricks that are real yo-yo tricks that are then deployed in combat and for traversal. And there's just a lot here. You'll get little badges. You have a certain number of badge points you can apply, and they'll give you effects like you'll get extra health, or your yo-yo. One of the maneuvers that you get early on is that you can throw the yo-yo itself off the string to do a longer ranged attack. And then you have to go retrieve it, or you have to wait a while for it to respawn on you. And one of the badges that you get lets you, when you're in that whip form with just the string, which you can still deploy, it stuns enemies normally, and then you can add a pushback and knock them into pits with it and things like that. So there's little badges you can configure out your loadout, and then you have special attacks, and you can have one of those at any given time. And they are all upgradable through collected cash, which is, there's a lot of cash everywhere, and it's dropping all the time. Like, wow, they're really dispensing the currency, and it's because you're gonna spend it on all of these upgrades. There's also a second upgrade track, which is kind of neat in its approach, in that you can't just pay for them. You get the ability, and it comes with a negative modifier of some kind. And you have to pay it off over time, because the person who is receiving the money is a germaphobe and doesn't want the money once it's been in your wallet. So it's just taken directly from you as it's collected. And so half of the money you would normally collect goes towards paying off this debt. And then once it's paid off, the negative modifier gets removed, and you can add another debt on. Interesting mechanical system. It does make you weigh early on, like, how bad some of those negatives will be, because, like, you're going to lose an attack point, but you haven't really gotten a lot of attack point upgrades yet, so that feels like a real detriment to be carrying around for 20 minutes while you collect enough cash to pay it off. So I like that there feels like there's weight behind those decisions, even though there really isn't that much, because there's plentiful cash, and these get paid off relatively quickly. But you get a lot of cool traversal abilities, it looks like. I've just gotten one that attacking a wall while in air will bounce you a further distance than you can normally jump, and so stages are starting to be configured to avail itself of that ability. Of course, I am also now stuck trying to figure out where I go next, after having recently received that ability, because I can't figure out where I'm supposed to use it. It does have that sort of Metroidvania, I'm not sure where to go next thing at times, and I'm still relatively early. I'm in the first 25%. But it does seem like there's a lot there. It does seem like the sort of thing that people should take a look at if you like a retro-styled Zelda game, especially if you're waiting for Mina to come out. This is a fun game, and I would encourage people to take a look. Pippistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. It's fun. A lot happening.
Yeah, I may check that out.
Yeah, I need to make time to go back to that. I played a little bit of it to check it out for the Indie Game Awards stuff that was happening last year. Mm-hmm. I very much enjoyed what I saw. It was in a month where I was trying to check out as many of 2025's indie games as possible, as quickly as possible. that's I'm going to shuffle that back up my radar, go back round to it. What about you, Steph? You played any other things this week?
I decided to go back to Dark Souls, but I'm not super deep into it. So I'll probably have more to say next week. But that's been nice. It's been nostalgic going back to that. That's about it. That's about all I can say about it. Apparently there's something called Return to Lordran happening right now, which I started playing it by coincidence, but a lot of people brought it up. I don't know if it's some push to repopulate the servers again or not, but...
Oh.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going back to Dark Souls at the moment.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, might be worth checking out.
I did one other thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit here. I talked about this time last year. I've been doing a thing this past year called Fantasy Critic. I talked about this a little at the start of 2025, where me and a bunch of other people basically tried to predict what video games would get good review scores, and throughout the year had a little, very much like American sports drafting, where you're trying to predict what your high point scorers are going to be throughout the year, but because you're all drafting, the good picks go quickly and you start having to pick obscure things that you think will do well. Anything above a 70 Open Critic average review score gets you positive points. Anything below that gets you negative points. And I'm quite happy with how I did. I came third place in the league I took part in. And I could have come first if I hadn't made one very stupid decision. And I'll talk about what that stupid decision is in a minute. But I was proud of getting third place because I had a bunch of rules on myself if I was going to take place in this, which is I do a bunch of work in the games industry that involves seeing games ahead of when the public sees them. So just as a rule for myself, I was like, any video game that I've seen behind closed doors and therefore have a better sense than the general public whether it's going to be good or bad, I can't bid on any of those in the draft. And as such, there was a good number of big budget games that would have been very easy high point predictors that I could not go for. I had to get creative. And some of the ones that I pitched, I stuck my flag on right at the start of the year, I feel like I picked some good ones. Dispatch. Back in January, I put
nice.
Dispatch down, because 2 of the slots in the year have to be for new game franchises. So, not a sequel, not a entry in a series. I was worried that wasn't going to pan out, because, the little bit of trailers that had existed and the casting choices, a lot of the voice cast are real-world celebrities, and I was like, is this going to be a Marvel dialogue issue and it's going to get slammed for that? Or is the adult humor not going to land? No, that got me solid points. I was very happy with that. I'll tell you what cost me first place. Our league had, one of the things you got to pick in the draft is a counter pick. So you've got to pick a game that someone else has already drafted. So someone else thinks is coming out this year and is going to get good reviews. That you think, conversely, I think it's either not going to release or it's going to get bad reviews. Because you lose points if it comes out and is good. And I put my counter pick on Deltarune.
Oh, wow.
Well, look, I took a gamble because, look, counter picks are hard to make because the options you're picking from are things that people are confident will come out and will score and give them positive points.
Yeah.
My thinking was, Deltarune Chapters 1 and 2 had already released and had not received scored reviews. Deltarune has 7 chapters in full, and it had been announced already. At most, Chapters 3 and 4 might come out in 2025. 5, 6, and 7 would not be coming out. My thought was, I don't think Deltarune is going to get scored reviews until all 7 chapters are out. It didn't get scores for Chapters 1 and 2. I don't think it's going to get scored until all those chapters are out. And I was putting my bets on this won't get scored reviews. Chapters 3 and 4 came out, and that was the first time they charged money for it, and a lot of websites went, we're going to review Deltarune now, because it's a product you can pay for, despite the fact that it's an incomplete product and we don't know how it's going to stick the landing.
The logic was sound.
Yeah, I had good logic, but it was a gamble, and I lost that gamble.
Because I've not reviewed it yet, because I am waiting for it to be in full.
Right? It didn't get a lot of scored reviews, but it got just enough that OpenCritic was happy to give it an average, and I was like, ugh. I can tell you how much of a stumble that was. I lost as many points by counterpicking Deltarune as I gained by picking Hollow Knight Silksong.
Oh no.
It erased the points that I got for Hollow Knight Silksong, which was that was a rough blow, but still came in third place, and I'm pretty happy with that. It was a fun, stupid little activity to do throughout the year. And if nothing else, the thing that I really enjoyed about doing Fantasy Critic this past year is we got a little Discord channel where it's set up that we get updates on, oh, this game released and so went up or down points. It also tells you any time during the year that a new game has, like, an average scored review comes out. And it was really nice just to have wait, what's this game none of us have ever heard of that just got a 95 average review score and is not on any of our radars? I'll go have a look at what that is. And it put a bunch of interesting games on my radar that were reviewing well and I just hadn't heard of. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm currently gearing up to do another one of these for 2026. We're doing a slightly bigger league this year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to another year of trying to predict at the start of the year what are the games that don't have a track record, that, like, when we're 50 games deep into the draft and I'm having a scramble, what are the niche games that I reckon are going to be good?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's genuinely been really fun, and it's made me root for games that I wouldn't otherwise have rooted for, because I'm like, look, round 7 in the draft, we're like 70 games deep. I've got to now be the champion for this one. That's got to be my baby now. I got to tell myself that one's going to be good.
While you were talking about this, I figured out what I was doing wrong with the traversal ability I acquired in Pippistrello, and immediately was taught another way to use it. This game fucking rules.
Oh, that's fantastic. Did we want to talk about any other things this week?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good place to wrap it then.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Well, Laurie, you mentioned that you've been on a break, but I'm sure that you are returning to the work that you are so well known and respected for. And maybe our listeners would get to hear about that if you're up for that.
I'm up for that. I'm back. I'm making stuff. You can find the stuff I'm making if you search Laura K. Buzz on most of the places where stuff is. Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. As little as $1 a month over there lets me keep doing all the stuff I do. It's also probably, even if you don't pay, that's probably the best place to just find links to absolutely everything I'm putting out. What have I got coming out soon? There's... We got new episodes of Fix Your Heart or Die, which is the podcast where I talk with some lovely people about the work of David Lynch and works inspired by or that inspired David Lynch. We are currently watching through the first season of Twin Peaks, episode by episode. There'll be a new one of those out soon. New episodes of Access Ability, Control-Alt-Access, new episodes of Dice Funk. Go check it all out. Laura K. Buzz, you'll find all the things. What about you, Conrad? Where are you out on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at Conrad Zimmerman on Blue Sky, and you can hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/thatconradzimmerman. I'm on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. You can also hear me on Let's Talk About Snacks, talking about snacks, wherever you get podcasts. You can get anti-capitalist propaganda and Jimquisition merchandise at mercenarycreative.com. And everything I do online gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And you know who else has a Patreon? Stephanie Sterling.
That is correct. Patreon.com/Jimquisition, which supports this podcast and reviews on thejimquisition.com and the videos that I do, which are now on an irregular schedule. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm working on one about Kirby. I've got another one in the works about YouTube's censorship, YouTube's latest censorship, which is literally helping the gambling companies they're pretending to fight. And that's about it. You can check out my work in Vampire Survivors and Quantum Witch and Date Everything. Vampire Survivors The Grimoire is a book that I've co-authored and will be coming out later this year, which will give you all sorts of fun official lore. And that's it. And for the joke of it, Spunkstock did not start up while I was speaking, which is a shame. But they started up now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.